Let me be absolutely direct with you from the outset, because what happened 72 hours ago in northern Israel demands clarity, seriousness, and zero diplomatic sugarcoating. Everyone right now is obsessing over ceasefire negotiations. Everyone is debating whether this latest exchange represents escalation or de-escalation. Every television panel, every headline, every government spokesperson is framing the story as another dangerous chapter in an already volatile regional conflict. But that is not the real story unfolding right now. What we are witnessing is not just another missile strike in an ongoing war. It is not symbolic retaliation. It is not a calculated show of force designed purely for political messaging. What we are witnessing is the systematic dismantling of Israel's most advanced defense manufacturing capability in real time. And the implications of that extend far beyond the borders of the Middle East. For the last 72 hours, satellite imagery has been quietly circulating among defense analysts, intelligence circles, procurement officials, and military planners across Europe, Asia, and North America. I have been studying those images carefully, and I need you to examine what they actually show with me, because the reality is far more significant than the sanitized summaries appearing in mainstream reporting. What those images show is not superficial damage to a military installation. It is not a crater beside a storage depot. It is not collateral damage from an intercepted missile barrage. What those images show is the near-total destruction of Rafael Advanced Defense Systems' primary manufacturing facility in Haifa, a strategic complex representing decades of Israeli weapons development, billions of dollars in active defense contracts, and some of the most sophisticated missile defense technology ever exported onto the global market. This is a facility tied to approximately $2.3 billion in live contracts with 11 different nations, and now large sections of it are offline. Over the next 20 minutes, I am going to walk you through exactly why this strike may represent a historic inflection point in Middle Eastern military dynamics, why Western-aligned defense exports are suddenly facing their most serious credibility crisis in decades, and why defense procurement decisions are being quietly reevaluated right now in capitals stretching from New Delhi to Seoul, from Bucharest to Warsaw. This is not the kind of analysis you will hear in 30-second television clips, carefully worded government briefings, or sanitized press releases designed to calm public nerves. If you have not already subscribed, do it now, because what we are about to cover is being actively analyzed by NATO defense planners, intelligence officials, and strategic procurement agencies. And the conclusions they are reaching behind closed doors contradict almost everything the public is currently hearing in mainstream coverage. Now let me begin with some necessary context about Rafael Advanced Defense Systems itself, because understanding what was destroyed requires understanding exactly what this facility represented. Rafael is not just another defense contractor. It is Israel's second-largest weapons manufacturer and one of the most technologically advanced military technology firms in the world. The Haifa facility specifically is where Rafael manufactures Iron Dome interceptor missiles, David's Sling medium-range air defense systems, and Spider mobile air defense platforms currently deployed by multiple militaries across Europe and Asia. The scale of this complex matters enormously. The facility spans approximately 43 hectares inside the northern industrial zone of Haifa. To put that into perspective, that is roughly the equivalent of 60 international football fields. This is not a warehouse. This is not a simple research laboratory. This is a fully integrated defense production ecosystem. Advanced manufacturing lines, weapons assembly infrastructure, classified testing facilities, quality assurance systems, hardened component storage, secure logistics hubs, and highly specialized engineering centers operating around the clock. According to reporting from Jane's Defense Weekly, later confirmed by multiple Israeli defense industry sources, the facility employed more than 2,000 highly specialized workers and operated on a continuous 3-shift, 24-hour production schedule in order to meet escalating export commitments. And the economic scale here is staggering. Rafael generates approximately $3 billion in annual revenue. The Haifa facility alone accounted for nearly 35% of that production capacity. According to financial disclosures filed with the Israeli Ministry of Defense, the current order backlog tied specifically to systems produced at this facility exceeded $2.3 billion as of March 2026. Those contracts include Iron Dome batteries for Romania, Spider platforms for India, and David's Sling components for an undisclosed NATO member state. That context matters because what happened on May 14th was not the disruption of some future theoretical capability. It was the destruction of active, revenue-generating, contract-bound production infrastructure already tied to global delivery schedules. And if you are watching this and realizing the scale of this story is far larger than initial media reporting suggested, subscribe now, because the deeper you go into this situation, the more strategically serious it becomes. Now let us talk about what actually struck this facility, because the technical details reveal something extremely important about how regional military capabilities are evolving. Announcement number 1. The munitions used in this strike were Iranian-designed Fateh, 110 ballistic missiles equipped with locally modified precision guidance systems. And that detail changes everything. These are not crude unguided rockets. These are precision-guided tactical ballistic missiles capable of striking within a circular error probability of less than 10 meters. That level of accuracy transforms these weapons from terror instruments into strategic infrastructure killers. Commander David Friedman, former deputy director of the Israeli Missile Defense Organization, described these systems in a 2024 strategic assessment as, and I am quoting directly here, capable of overwhelming point defense systems through coordinated saturation, trajectory variation, electronic disruption, and terminal maneuvering. According to analysis by the International Institute for Strategic Studies, the strike involved a coordinated salvo of at least 7 missiles launched specifically to saturate and overwhelm the Iron Dome battery protecting the Haifa industrial zone. 3 missiles were intercepted, 4 penetrated the defensive umbrella, and those 4 impacts were not random. 1 struck the main production hall, 1 struck the Quality Control and Systems Testing Center, 1 struck the Secure Component Storage Warehouse, and 1 struck the facility's primary electrical substation. The targeting precision here is extraordinary. Every impact point represented a critical node in the facility's integrated production chain. Destroying those 4 targets simultaneously does not merely damage a factory, it paralyzes an entire manufacturing ecosystem. Israel Aerospace Industries conducted an internal damage assessment within 72 hours of the strike. According to that document, later leaked to defense journalists and independently confirmed by multiple industry sources, the facility will require a minimum of 18 months for reconstruction, systems recalibration, and security recertification before production can return to previous operational capacity. 18 months. That is not temporary disruption. That is strategic industrial paralysis. And that leads directly into announcement number 2, the part almost nobody in Western media is explaining correctly. There are currently 11 countries with active defense contracts tied directly to systems manufactured at this facility. And those delivery schedules are now effectively impossible to meet. This is not hypothetical. This is immediate contractual failure with real financial, diplomatic, and strategic consequences. Romania signed a nearly $1 billion agreement for 4 Iron Dome batteries in late 2025. The first delivery was scheduled for August 2026. That delivery is now in serious doubt. India maintains approximately $270 million in contracts for Spider mobile air defense systems. 6 units were expected for deployment in July 2026. That timeline is now collapsing. The Czech Republic, Poland, and Finland all maintain pending negotiations for additional Israeli missile defense systems. Those negotiations are now reportedly paused, pending reassessment of production continuity and supplier reliability. And this is where the situation becomes much bigger than Israel itself. When a major defense supplier cannot guarantee delivery timelines, purchasing nations do not simply wait patiently and hope for recovery. They invoke penalty clauses. They reopen procurement discussions. They diversify suppliers. And most importantly, they begin questioning the strategic reliability of the supplier nation itself. Romania's defense minister held a press conference just 48 hours ago. He did not publicly cancel the Rafael agreement, but he did confirm that Romania is now actively evaluating alternative suppliers from both the United States and Europe. That is a billion-dollar procurement suddenly back in motion. And the economic damage does not stop there. Rafael's stock value on the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange fell nearly 19% within 72 hours of the strike. That erased approximately $540 million in market capitalization almost overnight. Insurance claims connected to the destruction are estimated at roughly $400 million. But many defense infrastructure insurance policies explicitly exclude acts of war. If insurers classify this strike as wartime destruction rather than terrorism, Rafael may be forced to finance reconstruction almost entirely through operating capital and emergency state support. Now stay with me carefully, because this is where the narrative shifts completely. Announcement number 3, and this is the part almost nobody in mainstream analysis is connecting correctly, is that this strike demonstrated something profoundly damaging for Israeli defense credibility. Israel's own critical defense infrastructure proved vulnerable to the exact category of precision strike systems Israeli companies have spent years marketing themselves as uniquely capable of defeating. The irony is brutal. Rafael manufactures Iron Dome. Iron Dome exists specifically to intercept the exact type of missiles that just penetrated the defensive shield protecting Rafael's own manufacturing facility. 4 missiles breached that shield and crippled one of the most strategically critical defense production sites in Israel. According to analysis published by Defense News and strategic assessments from the Center for Strategic and International Studies, this incident could fundamentally alter how Israeli air defense systems are perceived globally, because the sales argument has always relied on one central claim: combat-proven reliability under real-world conditions. But what happens when the real-world demonstration shows successful penetration? How does Rafael now pitch Iron Dome to Poland, when Polish defense officials can point directly to satellite images showing an Iron Dome-protected facility lying in ruins? Military procurement decisions are driven by 2 things above all else: technical performance and strategic confidence. Technical performance can be demonstrated in testing environments. Strategic confidence depends on something deeper: belief that the supplier nation can defend its own infrastructure, maintain uninterrupted production, and continue deliveries regardless of regional instability. What happened on May 14th undermined all 3 simultaneously.